Welcome to the finale of FIFA 17 The Journey, and now I fast forward through this trading montage.
Alright. You could have used some music, or at least mute the volume here.
Yeah.
But I thought you guys wanted to hear the squirrels.
No.
Not really.
And it's chipmunks,
We usually only like to hear the chipmunk voices when it's our own. Like, you know, I mean, usually.
Well, look at how fast this is. You guys were complaining about the. Hey, you guys were complaining about the pacing earlier.
Yeah, but Dwibs, don't pull a straw man. Just because you speed things up doesn't mean you have to do it shittily.
Yeah.
Well, guys, if I didn't speed up that part, this would be nearly an hour long.
Dwibs, that's not what I said, but whatever.
Speeding up was not the problem. You should have just included music to help.
Unfortunately, I couldn't think of a song to put in there, so...
Why not just do what you did last time and insert some Sonic music? You actually did that before.
I always do that. So, well, guys, it's our, I believe this is our final game in the Premier League, actually. We're against West Bromwich Albion, and this is where Swansea will be crowned the champions.
Aren't they technically already champions because of, score?
Yeah, no, they are. It's just after this game, it's a tradition where they receive the trophy at their home ground.
Oh, so we technically have won the championship already.
Yeah, we're just getting the trophy at the end.
Kind of weird.
And also, we get the FA Cup final.
Well, it's just it's a matter of formality, Joe.
No. I know how it goes. I'm just saying it's kind of weird for the story to focus on the game after as the big finale. I mean, I imagine that this would make for a neat epilogue, but wouldn't they want to focus on the big game decider thing story-wise? Strictly story-wise.
In this one, they tried to adapt a story around around a football season.
So they make it seem like this is the real finale game, even though technically, while this is the last game, this is...
Oh, actually, Jove,
it's one of those situations where in a leaderboard with points, it's clear at this point that the leading squad cannot be topped, so it's automatically the winner. But there are still a couple of matches to play obligatory, so it's just like...
You have to fulfill all your fixtures, otherwise you could end up getting in serious trouble.
Oh, I know how that goes. I'm just saying, story-wise, I'm surprised that they didn't, just...
Well, remember, the FIFA prides itself on realism, so...
Yay! I mean, I'm just saying, it takes a bit away from the tension, like, with the finale match. I'm just got myself imagining now. What if Pez tried to do a story mode?
It's Konami. We're
Pro Evolution Soccer.
Oh, Konami's soccer game. Maybe they might, but it's Konami, so who knows?
Well, actually, Joe, but they're still making them, and they're using the Fox engine on the new game.
Well, I guess that means we'll get ultra super nice graphics.
I guess, yeah.
Maybe.
I'm using the Fox engine for that pachinko game, eh, Pedro?
Hit the lever.
In fact, maybe I should do a PES game for the channel at some point.
Yeah,
you already did, Dwibs, with some matches.
Just stick with FIFA. Nobody cares about PES anymore.
That was International Superstar Soccer, the predecessor.
Just stick with FIFA, Dwibs. Nobody cares about PES anymore.
Objection! Actually, plenty of people do still care about it. Look,
It's
the second big. Well, aside from
it's the only Konami IP that. It's the only Konami IP that people will still actively want to support.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Surprisingly, because sports!
Major Konami.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Is still major. I know it's a licensed product, but it's still major.
Yeah.
Which one are we talking about?
Yu-Gi-Oh!
It's one of the biggest. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is actually one of the biggest sources of profit for Konami because.
Again, to this day, I still don't understand why Namco didn't took it, because it's usually Namco takes anime licensed games IPs.
Guess they missed the boat on that one.
Now I'm imagining a crossover between PES and Yu-Gi-Oh!
Correct me if I'm wrong too, but doesn't Konami also own the anime and the card game in general? It's not just a license.
I have no idea.
Well,
the manga is technically a Weekly Shonen Jump property, But when it came to the license, I think Konami just acquired it first.
And also,
check.
Konami are actually in charge of the English versions of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure they own it. Let me check.
Yeah.
At least the anime. I'm pretty sure they own.
Because one thing that Konami has in Pro Evolution Soccer that EA don't with FIFA, aside from David Beckham, is that they actually hold the license to the Champions League and Europa League tournaments.
Yeah, here you go to. I'm checking Yu-Gi-Oh! Card.com. Yeah, it's even right here. Konami Entertainment and all that shit. They own the card game itself, so. And I'm pretty sure they also own the anime.
Yeah.
What I miss?
We were just talking about the fact that after this, Swansea are going to receive the Premier League trophy.
We also talked about Konami,
Yay.
for once not in a completely negative light.
Yeah, basically, I was pondering a lot to the group whether I could do a PES game at some point.
Yeah,
But
sure.
basically, that would depend on whether that series decides to follow EA's footsteps and include a story mode, or if say having the Champions League, Europa League rights when EA doesn't.
Don't worry, Dwibs. I'm sure we'll get. Don't worry, Dwibs. I'm sure we'll get a PES pachinko machine.
A PES pachinko machine.
How do you even?
That would officially be the bottom of the barrel.
Theo, it's Japan. They'll make pachinko machines out of fucking wax paper if they want.
Surprisingly, I don't think surprisingly, outside of maybe something for like iShield 21, I don't think I've ever seen them actually do a strictly sports pachinko game because those. Okay, for some
Make
reason,
weird inventions out of anything and everything, so I wouldn't put it past them.
All right, BRB.
somehow they make a fortune off of pachinko games that are marketed off of these famous franchises. Maybe it's as if these franchises have fans that would like to buy games outside of pachinko machines.
Perish that thought, Jova. That's preposterous.
You know, the real dickish thing about pachinko
Someone want to
games,
drop that message to Capcom?
See, the most dickish things about pachinko games is that they're extremely exclusive to Japan. We can't even enjoy them over here if we wanted to, which is weird because Konami does have a building in Las Vegas. You'd think that they would have brought something over.
I'd like to try one, but it's I don't know if my Japanese will be good enough to be able to read one when I go over there.
Well,
and also as like I said before, another thing about if we compare PES to FIFA, is that Konami don't have the rights to use some of the names of some of the football clubs. So it's like they call Chelsea London FC to try and get around that.
Wow, that must have pissed off a lot of people.
That sounds really stupid, honestly. Why would you not give concession to use the name of your team in a license?
And it doesn't. Well, licenses for individual football teams can be expensive, but London FC, doesn't even make any sense. Chelsea aren't the only major football club in London.
How do you know that one's specifically Chelsea? Just wondering.
Because I've played the games.
No.
Well, he knows what Chelsea is supposed to look like in terms of the kit and such.
Yeah, basically the badge has
still get the players' likenesses down.
The badge is blue. The shirts are blue. They have a lion on their crest, and some of their names are similar.
And your best friend got a yellow. Congratulations.
Yeah, if you know enough about football, that stuff is easy to point out.
Yeah, that stuff's easy to figure out if you're a football fan.
Dwibs, you seriously need to stop chopping other people's legs.
I will when they actually bother to put up a defense.
Well, Dwibs, the idea is to just maneuver around them as opposed to plow through them.
Alright.
Well, they should have been faster then.
You're bleeding.
Jesus Christ.
Fast.
Victim bleeding at its finest.
Remember, guys, if it's a video game, it's okay.
There are no bad players, only bad game design.
Yeah, I mean...
Suck it, Undertale!
You know, Dwibs, Saints Row 4 actually calls out on this behavior like that. The main villain actually... calls you out as the player and says, how many people have you chopped on the street with your car just for your amusement, stuff like that.
All right, Tim, I just found it. Basically, what happened to is after Konami kinda killed 4Kids with the whole lawsuit about the way they mistreated Yu-Gi-Oh.
Wait, hold on. You're saying that we have Konami to thank for 4Kids no longer being the thing?
I know, ironic, right? Anyway, yeah. Basically, after the company went
It's like
down...
watching a kaiju movie.
So yeah, after 4Kids went down, Konami actually bought their offices and renamed them 4K Media, and the company is currently dedicated exclusively to licensing, sales, and distribution of the Yu-Gi-Oh brand in the United States. So yeah, it's a Konami property, pretty much.
How...
The manga may be Shonen Jump, but everything else is Konami, apparently.
That's surprisingly kind
That's
of
because,
poetic.
give me a second.
So, guys, how many have they scored now?
4.
I've lost count.
You were saying, Teo?
Anyway, yeah, basically, when it came to weekly Shonen Jump crossover games, like, I forgot what it's called, it was like weekly Shonen Jump Ultimate Fiesta, something like that on Nintendo DS. Yami Yugi was also included due to being a Weekly Shonen Jump property, but the game itself, being a crossover between Weekly Shonen Jump properties, was actually published by Namco Bandai. So obviously they had to make a deal with Konami about it.
Now you scored 5, Dwibs.
Well, considering the manga is not going on anymore, at this point it's pretty much a Konami property in every way.
Right, if I can, I'll make a verbal recorded promise now. I promise I'll increase the difficulty for Season 2.
Jovo,
Just
correct...
that,
sorry.
just that, Dwibs, just keep or speed pointless matches.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Jova. Is there a... Correct me if I'm wrong, Jova. Was Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc V an anime from the beginning, or did it start out as a manga?
I don't actually recall hearing about a manga. It probably did, but I guess it's
manga?
Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc V, the current Yu-Gi-Oh! series that's airing right now.
I will find out.
Because considering Konami doesn't really seem to care about the manga industry, I'm pretty sure it started as an anime, probably.
Yep, it had a manga. Although
Oh, it
I'm
did?
not quite sure if it started as such.
Compare the release dates.
Was it Shonen Jump? I'm guessing.
Yep, it was Weekly Shonen Jump. Let's see. It began serialization on August 20th, 2015. Let me just see.
And
when
the anime started on... Oh, the anime came first then, because the anime is... Well, origin is April 6, 2014.
That does not
There you go.
surprise
So
me,
now
because
it's
lately
opposite
they
now.
seem to be doing a tactic of having, like, the anime come
Then
first.
again,
and then the
Pedro, it
manga.
doesn't necessarily mean something because, for example...
The manga listed. I'm looking at the Yu-Gi-Oh! Wiki.
I mean, Dragon Ball Super came out first as an anime and then came the manga adaptation, but it doesn't mean that the anime was made by Namco Bandai.
Oh yeah, of course. We're not saying that. We're just saying that from what we can tell.
No, but just when it comes to the licensed product, I understand that Konami has all the rights to Yu-Gi-Oh! But as a story on its own and its thing, it's still pretty much Weekly Shonen Jump. Again, okay, the Duel Monsters trading card game obviously also is Konami. I mean, there's the logo of the company printed behind every single fucking card.
There's one thing I should say, guys. We're gonna have quite a few cutscenes in the middle and the end of this part. So
goody, something to progress.
Yes, thank you.
It's about
Who
time.
knows? Maybe. I guess that might have, if that's been a criticism that's been lobbied in, like, say, from people to EA, maybe they'll have got the message, because as amazing it is to believe, even EA are capable of listening at times.
It takes them a while, but yes, sir.
I mean, what about?
Remember, they technically listened to the complaints at Mass Effect Andromeda, and they responded with the appropriate way.
Because now I was talking about improving stuff in a sequel. Because remember, Titanfall. I heard Titanfall 2 was a lot better.
Yeah,
and
too bad they forgot to pack the marketing for it, or getting a better release date, because they released it, I think, in competition with like Call of Duty, which was like suicide to begin with.
And Battlefront 2's looking like a major improvement.
Yeah, again, though, where's the marketing for these
I've
improved
heard a few people
sequels?
talking about it.
Well, no, okay,
Oh,
Joe.
Joe,
but
there's
Star Wars.
plenty of marketing for Battlefront 2.
Yeah, but well, that's because it's also Star Wars. Disney is gonna push this turkey out of a wazoo. Also, I noticed that at least for this particular match, the frame rate dropped significantly in a couple of places.
Yeah, what's
I never noticed that.
Specifically when you get a couple of players around the
guys,
goal.
guys, the opposition scored.
Again. Jesus.
That's a very fine goal for West Bromwich Albion.
That's a very
Well,
fine
that's-
goal.
Yeah, basically, West Brom are like the West Brom are the they always finish mid-table. You know, they're the club that's there.
Hey,
And there they are,
Fonter.
ladies and gentlemen. Swansea City are the English champions.
Cheers.
I take that you get the upcoming cutscenes right after you basically take hold of your assured victory.
Yeah. Oh
Do
crap!
they
what
still
am I-
treat it like
So-
you don't have a chance to win, then? Or do they respect the
No
fact that
chance in hell.
We'll see. I can't.
You
I've
don't
forgotten.
have the ghost of a
I've
chance.
forgotten how that
Oh
went.
god.
So, according to this virtual universe, Swansea City are the first team outside of England to win the top flight title in English football.
Yay.
There, Dwibs. Don't take itself too personally.
But it's the English Premier League.
After all, Dwibs, it's you who chose Swansea to begin with.
Yeah, you got no one to win but yourself.
So yeah, well done, Shira. You're the champions of Wales, England.
As it is written, Shiro, you're the hero of Corradine.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Duz, but I don't think Wales has enough clubs to have a
Another
league of
thing
its
we
own.
took away from the English. Fantastic.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, basically, I remember I've already said in a previous part that the bigger Welsh clubs are still in the Welsh football. Wales has always had a presence in English football. It's just that nowadays it's the few bigger teams that are still playing in the English league system, like Swansea, Cardiff, Newport recently, and Wrexham, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Hurrah!
They're like the major four. Everyone else is in like the Welsh Premier League.
We bought fireworks and broad daylight, of course.
Yeah. Has that ever happened in Swansea before, Shiri? Fireworks in broad daylight?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Did they? I reckon they went off both when Swansea got promoted and when they won the League Cup.
Probably. I don't know. I don't even remember. I don't pay attention to this.
I'm surprised. You live in a place that's a major. That's like the well, by default, the biggest club in Wales. I'm surprised no one's talked about that.
Well, you gotta remember, I don't really watch
Oh my
football,
God.
and also, well, I don't really watch sports in general. I prefer to take part in sports than actually watch them. And two, I don't really go.
Alright,
out
here's the coach.
To,
Oh my
I don't
god.
really go out drinking. That's not for casual reasons, so I'm not around everyone who's
Retarded
talking about
screaming.
this.
Right.
And I
So
don't
actually
know my
getting-
father, so I don't hear about it from him either.
Champion.
We are
mean-
the champions.
There is my brother, but he only lives here like 2 days a
Huh.
week, so I don't really hear about it from him either. So
Anyway.
I guess it just feels weird that, the battle against our douche trend.
Oh,
wasn't discussed.
really? We get the pretentious pop music.
Oh, well.
Remember, it's from one half of the noisy duo too.
It's like I mean, Parappa the Rapper made explicitly fun of this cliché.
We are the champions.
You should,
my
you-
yes, I
friend.
was about to. I was about to say someone should start singing that. You read my mind. Well, I do like rhythm games, and it's out on PS4 now, isn't it?
Yeah, the remastered, quote unquote.
Have fun with the sequel.
It's also
So,
very.
guys, we are the champions of English football, but now we got to see if we can do the double and win the FA Cup. And what team we're going to face
cool,
in the
so
FA
there's-
Cup?
The Mr. Douche Nozzles team.
Douche novel.
Oh,
Yep,
oh, I
it's
see.
Swansea versus Stoke City.
Pedro needs to take credit for that. He was the one who coined the term.
Mm-hmm.
So there are 2 cups in the story. Okay, now I get
Hashtag
why.
Zwalba. What the hell does that mean?
Anyway, but first we got to do one last bit of training.
Fast forward with music, please.
Nah,
No,
sorry.
still-
Again, I couldn't think of a track to put in there.
There are so many you could have asked me about.
Nah, I don't think Joseph. I think this is one of those rare cases where Ace Attorney wouldn't fit.
But don't you see,
I wasn't gonna say Ace Attorney. I
Don't you
was
see,
going to
Jova?
say-
It helps establish the tension and make you immerse on everything.
Also, Dwibs.
Can't you feel the struggle of Alex as he tries to hit that poor dummy, going back and forth?
I get more immersion out of an episode of The Office.
Which one?
The American one, I'm guessing.
Not longer.
You know, the US version. Whoops.
All right.
To be fair, to be
So,
fair,
here we
both
go.
versions
Which
of The
I
Office-
actually prefer, honestly.
Here we go.
Yeah.
The rematch: Swansea City versus Stoke City at Wembley.
And
Oh,
you know,
goody.
to be fair,
I do like the UK version, but the US version gets a few more laughs out of me.
yeah. Also, both are available on Netflix.
Today's all about passion, blood, and thunder. Today, you have a chance to become more than just a player.
Also, we get another scene with Mr.
Today,
Douche
you
Nozzle.
have a chance to
Yep.
Yay.
Goody.
Cup winners.
And that is also where I threw in
Believe
another
in
little
yourselves,
edit.
and you will be victorious. Win, and you will become legends.
Until next
They
year.
will take the goals, but they will
Never take our freedom!
they'll never take our rabbits.
Touching the ball for luck.
Yep, is more specifically his granddad's ball.
Yeah, the good luck
Oh,
card.
oh, it's his granddad's ball.
Yeah, I
of course.
remember the whole inheritance and shit.
Oh, here we go, guys.
Can't wait to see the look on your face when I lift that cup.
Yeah, because you were so
Ah.
because you were amazing against us last time.
So what are you gonna do? Be aggressive?
In your dream,
Yeah.
Yep.
They deserve it. I don't blame you.
I am gonna destroy you.
Yep.
That right?
Oh, here we go.
Wanna know why I used to hang around with you?
Okay.
No. No.
Yo, I know.
My God, intro.
Oh,
Listen to me.
You're telling me that this smug prick has been lying to Alex as part of his elaborate get famous quick scheme that he's planned since he was at least 10?
Also, I like I used Apollo instead of Phoenix.
Yeah.
That is incredibly dumb. I.
But don't you see, Pedro? This was his master plan.
Wait, you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of that.
You'll have your chance.
It reminds me of North, where the villain is a 10-year-old kid. Like,
but the problem, see, you know,
But that was all a dream at the end.
Again, that's a midget. What the hell?
Not only that, but that kid was doing stuff right there and then. He didn't make a plan while he was 10 to do something with him later when they were adults.
Not just that, Jova. That's the personality of a Saturday morning cartoon character.
yeah, like this is your big plot twist.
I mean, wow,
I mean,
it's quite a twist, alright, but
DC Comics actually kind of half-made series of it with the Reverse Flash, Professor Zoom, by making him say that going back in time, he was the cause of all the bad things that happened to Barry Allen in his childhood.
yeah.
What the fuck?
I'm actually wondering, in terms of picking Stoke as Swansea's big rivals, because there's no Cardiff in this league, this is deliberate. I swear it is, because me and Sheroy have already pretty similar enough anyway, so now they're picking our football clubs.
And it just figures that two best friends or two enemies are linked by these two teams.
Yeah, Sheroy, are EA spying on us?
I don't trust EA for anything. So
Well, Dwibs,
Do either of you have an
it's easy
Xbox
to answer
One in
this
your
question.
homes?
Have you actually subscribed to Origin?
That reminds me,
No.
do either of you have an Xbox One? That might be
Sheroy-
Sheroy's brother
and
does.
My brother has one.
So I'm safe then.
Have you ever interacted with that Xbox One or been in front of it?
No.
You bought Rare Replay for it, though.
It reminds
I
me
know,
of
but it's like when my brother. It's hard to find a window when my brother's not playing FIFA.
It reminds me of Pearl Jared's review of the Kinect, where the Kinect literally moves on its own, and he turns to the camera and says, "If I die, you know who did it." It's like Xbox on, Xbox off. Oh God.
Remember when that kind of stuff was first announced and it was like, and people assumed that the Xbox was just watching you constantly, and my mum's reaction was, I just sit in front of it giving it the middle finger 24/7.
Well, Shiro, that was the original idea. Apparently,
that was actually got to be the original idea, believe it or not. Oh,
I know. I just like my mum's reaction of, I'm just gonna give it the bird.
Well, as it would deserve. Also, remember that conference where they kept saying Xbox One and Xbox Live, and that affected people who were watching the stream, the Xbox. It caused it to turn off and on.
You really should have implemented like a voice recognition thing or something.
The original idea was for the...
Oh yeah, guys, Gareth Walker's gonna destroy us.
My brother's actually in work, so I'll have to ask him if I can use his Xbox to play Rare Replay, because I haven't yet.
To give you an idea, Shiro, originally there was going to be face recognition DRM, where if there's too many people using the system, it will turn off to avoid... So that you cannot, lend your Xbox to your friends so they can use your Netflix or something.
Oh yeah, the infamous, you have to pay extra for used games.
Yeah, wasn't that the whole thing of like you can't have used games, like your friend has to have a new copy?
Yeah.
That was why. That's why Sony made that video taking a jab at them.
You know. I wish that what we were saying about that was all exaggeration, but no, it was true. It was true to the point where Sony was able to easily get ahead of them by making, here's how you share your PS4 games. Here you go.
There you go.
Thank you.
Oh, they trolled them immediately. It was fantastic.
I mean, wow, that was.
No, I love Jack Trammell. Jack Trammell was like on Sony, and he was all like, "Okay, the PS4 will allow used games," and everybody's cheering. And then he asks, "Oh, I guess that's a good thing, huh?"
And it won't. And it won't deconnect if you haven't authenticated within 24 hours.
I mean, still, can you imagine just how poorly the Xbox One would have done? I mean, don't get me wrong, it was already doing not so well.
That's what killed it, Jova. Remember, Jova.
How terrible.
Well, remember, Jova, the last time we checked the charts, the PS4 has sold twice as much as the Xbox One, and that's basically what killed it. From the moment...
Yeah, the Xbox One absolutely tanked.
From the moment... Well, it didn't tank, but it is lagging behind quite a bit. The moment Sony did that thing at E3 2014, that's when the Xbox One lost. Right before the race even started.
Oh, they got rid of what's his name?
They created what is quite possibly the worst first impression for a console ever, coupled with the fact that Sony created one of the best first impressions for the PS4.
Well, Pedro, remember also that in 2006, Sony's presentation of a PS3 was laughable.
Yeah, it was a reverse. It was a reverse 2006.
Based on Japanese history.
Oh, that was.
That's kind of my point. It was kind of a reverse 2006.
And now with Nintendo catching up on the Switch, Microsoft has still not managed to clean up their act with the Xbox One. Hey, now we got the
Xbox
One.
Tell me, Dwibs.
I'm wondering. Okay. Throughout the entire course of this playthrough, I just wanna say to any non-football fans, Stoke actually in real life quite a formidable side. They've got a very good defense, and at their home ground, their fans are the loudest in like all of England.
I love how it's when we get to Stoke that you start reassuring us that the teams are better than this and not for any other team.
Well, it helps that I'm from Stoke.
I know.
Hell, fun fact, where I live, the Stoke's ground is like 10 minutes away.
Different Stokes for different folks.
Ha 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 ha.
So, Dwibs, in real life, if this game were happening, which side would you be rooting for?
Oh yeah, this is happening.
Well, honestly, in this case, I'd be favouring Stoke because they're English.
Despite the fact that Mr. Douche-Nozzle is sponsoring, or
Yeah, but again, it's the English FA Cup and Stoke are from England. Last thing I want is the trophy to leave our borders.
Really? That would. Ouch.
Implying.
Yeah.
Aww. You know what? So what's gonna be your reaction when it someday does leave the borders?
Well, actually, Jova, one trophy did back in 2013 when Swansea won the League Cup.
Oh, how'd you like that?
Well, I didn't like it considering that one of the sides Swansea beat to get to the final was us,
Chelsea or Stoke?
Chelsea.
He's from Stoke, but
about
he's from Stoke, but he's a Chelsea fan.
He considers Chelsea his homeland, I guess.
No, it's not so much. Well, the thing is, Joe, but also
I'm joking.
a lot. Most of the time, it's either the home you're, or just because you were born into a Chelsea family, so it's kind of required that you.
Yeah,
become...
my dad's mum's a Chelsea fan.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, if there's one thing, like if you want the epitome of indoctrinating your kids into liking certain things, football and rugby are the prime examples of that.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Another.
And wrestling.
So guys, the away team are struggling a bit. Let's see if they can stoke the fire.
What a story, Louis.
Well, my family were really big wrestling fans. There was me and my brother at one point. Like, we really enjoyed watching it, and I'd even go to friends' houses and have like marathons and stuff. So.
Do you watch Wales games, rugby ones? I mean, Shiri.
Nah, like in terms of watching sport on TV, again, I don't really do it anyway. But football in particular is pretty difficult to watch for me because of how zoomed out it is.
Did you watch the Six Nations one between you and us?
No, if I hear anything about football scores, it's usually on the radio.
Because funny story, guys. I watched the Wales versus England Six Nations game, and I was live. I was pretty much just giving live reactions on Twitter, and she even responded to a couple. So, well, one in particular was the one where I brought up that we hadn't beaten Wales at their ground in a while, but I was hoping that we'd do it then, and she said, yay, and then no.
So you lost.
Well, again, it's like I usually
we beat
either
them.
hear the scores on the radio, like the final scores on the radio, or I, listen to people who I know who actually watch that stuff to find out.
It was actually quite the match to watch, Jova. It was really back and forth, and there was no telling who was going to win, but ultimately the better team won.
Funny.
But hey, it's true.
So, Dwibs, do you feel that in this nail-biter of a finale, do you feel that you have a chance of beating Stoke today?
We'll just beat Mr. Douche-Nozzle's team.
We're not only beating Mr. Douche-Nozzle's team, we're crushing him.
Well, Shiro, I came up with the term inspired by a certain character in Quantum Break.
All of them?
I'm just easily
No. The
guy that don't worry, Joe. I know how to get through to him. Mr. Banana Mustache Dwibs.
Oh, him.
There you go.
Banana mustache.
No, that's the thing, Shiro. That's the thing, Shiro. That's the one thing of that character that Dwibs can remember because it's the one thing that stands out about him to him.
What, his banana mustache?
Yes.
Shiro, that mustache was a crime against nature.
So it's 6-0 now.
Jesus. That's brutal.
It's ironic because in real life, Stoke actually crushed a team 5-1 during an FA Cup semi-final. It was Bolton Wanderers, by the way. And also, speaking of cup games were actually played today, and it wasn't a very good day for Wales in the competition actually, because only Swansea won out of the 3 Welsh teams that were in it.
Well, that's good for my city, but as for Wales in general, yeah.
Cardiff lost to Burton Albion, who to be fair are in the same division as them, albeit a lot smaller, and Newport County, who are also to be fair a lower league side, lost to Leeds United.
What time did the match with Swansea finish? Do you know?
About half an hour ago.
Oh, so Town's probably heaving right now.
I think it was away actually, Shiri. Let me see. So
Oh, again, any excuse to have a drink. Town will still be heaving.
Yeah. Swansea were at home. Actually, they were all the way in Milton Keynes. They were facing MK Dons.
Well, they've been thwarted here. That's a sign of better things.
I've already brought up the MK Dons Wimbledon shit earlier, so I won't do that now.
Wimbledon?
Yeah. I won't go for it again.
Oh no, I mean, sorry. When I only hear about Wimbledon when it comes to tennis, so you'll have to elaborate on that a little bit.
Look up Wimbledon Milton. Just look up Wimbledon MK Dons Wikipedia.
Okay.
You'll find out.
And in he goes with the tackle.
Although I'll sum it up. I'll just sum it up. It's the only time English football will ever adopt American franchising.
I wonder if Stoke will manage to recover from this.
Yeah, don't worry, guys. They only got to score 7 goals in the next 16 minutes.
So what's
which are like seconds.
Got to do with that old debacle?
Because remember, you know how in the United States, Jova, sometimes teams move from one city to another. In some cases, it could be miles away.
We try not to make that a common thing, but yes.
It happened. It's not. While it's not that well regarded in the US, around here in the UK, it's pretty much a massive sin. So much so it's only happened once. And in fact, they've even made rules up so that you can never do that again.
Wow.
Jesus.
What kind of rules did they?
I actually wasn't aware.
Although that hasn't stopped one club trying to do something like that, but again, that was stopped.
So basically, you dedicate your entire life to one location from now on for the rest of it, unless you get traded.
Yeah, again, though, that's never going to happen ever again. So you won't be seeing Chelsea moving to Method Tidville or somewhere.
Method Tidville.
Or Arsenal
also, I
moving.
saw what you linked me earlier, and that's basically how it is in South Wales.
What is?
The whole thing about, you come here speaking Welsh, and it's like, no, most of us actually don't. The signs are here, but we don't.
Yeah, it was a section of Cabinet.
2 minutes.
So basically, Welsh is a language.
Oh, and you got on Dwibs, you managed to get a yellow in the final moments of your last match.
Sorry.
But Western North Wales actually do speak a lot of Welsh. Like I've mentioned it before. I think that most of my family speak Welsh. But yeah, go ahead, Pedro.
You know a language is stupid and inconvenient when its own country decides to abandon it.
Well, guys,
it's only a part of the country.
So guys,
congratulations, Dwibs. You managed to destroy the competition yet again, but in the process managing to get a yellow card in the last moment.
Like it matters.
It does, Dwibs. It's like the last stain you get on your cheek at the last moment. It's like, come on, it's still a nuisance.
No, that's a red card.
Even still, though, yellow cards are gonna pile up eventually. Gotta be careful.
Anyway, it doesn't matter because Swansea have taken 2 of England's biggest trophies and have moved them to South Wales.
Aren't you proud?
Alright, time to some closure with Mr. Douche Nozzle.
Not me. What about you, Shiri?
So, is he going to admit that he didn't plan that stupid plan all
along? Hold on, actually,
can you repeat that, Dwibs?
How do you feel about taking 2 of England's biggest trophies?
He's resentful.
And taking them back to South Wales.
So does that mean that so what, are they going to be friends again because he helped him up?
Maybe because they have confirmed.
So that's the last thing we see of him.
Because they have confirmed they'll be returning characters.
Hang
on. Let me finish. We know Alex Hunter's coming back for the next one, and he's going to be the playable character again. So odds are we might get the return of the other characters as well.
Dwibs, is that the last we see of his douche friend?
In this one, yeah.
In this cutscene or in this game?
In this game.
What?
So
Well, we do get
they don't even
closure of
resolve
one.
this.
Well, we do get closure of one story. Daddy issues.
Flamethrowers, really?
You see, winning
Did
a winning a
people
trophy
actually?
is
Did people actually wasted gas for this? I mean, in real life, in football, sorry, do people actually waste gas for these flamethrower things?
I
Yes.
fell into a burning ring of fire.
Be thankful it's not like one of them EA press conferences where they gassed the whole audience.
And the flames
No,
weren't
No,
high.
but gas in
When it
terms of
comes to-
petroleum.
Oh my
When
god,
it
that
comes to
cameraman.
sports stuff, like including the ceremonial stuff, like we set a lot of shit on fire.
Yeah.
Such a waste of resources.
I know, trust me, too. I agree with that as well. Like,
Why? Are your country? Do your countries not really do that?
no, my country does it. That's why I hated it as well.
No, but that's the point, Dwibs. We're living in an age where, taking care of, gas is becoming more and more rare, and people are still wasting in shits like this.
Mm.
The Emirates FAA Cup.
Yeah, that's the name of it. Emirates is a sponsor of it.
Arabian people, I take.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
You know, considering this is the finale, I mean, there hasn't been a lot happening in terms of cutscenes.
It's not New Year's Dawn. You don't have to do the train.
Oh, Stewie, we're gonna get quite a few of them now.
Alright, so let's see how this cutscene
performs.
And this one's just the team are celebrating togetger.
What? But it's the finale. Shouldn't there be something bigger for it?
Well, it is a big occasion. Well, teams do this, Jova. Why do you want them to hold the team up for ransom?
No, we need the team to go through the town on a big float, just like dangling the trophy in everyone's face.
Question, Dwibs, as far as you know, does Hunter get additional praise if he's actually the main scorer of his match?
I'm guessing not.
Well, no. Well, remember, this is a team sport.
I can't remember. I don't know if it's just my imagination, but Jova, didn't you say something, or somebody say something about that since FIFA the Journey Part 2 will be coming out soon, like in a couple of months? Didn't you say it was slightly more in depth from what it was looking like, or?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know how it's going to be done, but basically the big story that got going on there is whether Alex is going to stay in the Premier League or leave to go to Europe.
Huh. Isn't he technically already in Europe? I mean, come on, Brexit hasn't happened yet.
He means like another European team.
Europe.
Yeah.
You know, being bought out by another
Alright,
team.
time for the final cutscene, I guess.
Yep.
Hello, Alex.
Oh.
Who?
Actually, no, it's not the final cutscene.
Is that his father?
Basically,
oh, that's his father. His father looks like Christopher Walken.
You know, the sports may be good, but you gotta need more cowbell.
Cowbell.
It's one of his catchphrases when he was in the Saturday Night Live.
Let me guess.
I don't even know what cowbell is.
Nobody does, Shiroi. Only
No, don't tell me.
I don't think even Christopher does,
Shiroi.
So he just comes back to mooch off of his son, and that's all we learn of him.
Well, Alex isn't having any of that shit, so...
So is it like a pushy parent or parent living out their dreams for their children kind of thing, or...?
Now remember, the first cutscene established that Alex's dad was so bitter at having his career pretty much taken from him because of injury that he started being a bit mean to Alex in a way.
Well,
abusing parents. That's so charming.
No, he was being even more so. Oh look, they're playing FIFA.
With PS4 controllers, I take that in the Xbox One version they change.
A bit late for the product placement, isn't it?
No, they did this earlier. In fact, they were shilling Ultimate Team in a few scenes.
Take a load off. I mean, they'll have you shuttle running and eating salads again before you know it.
Is that David Tennant?
No.
Can you get that, Mum?
I swear to God, if it's his father.
want to tear you away from your important
Nah, it's gonna be probably the sponsor guy.
Thank you. Yeah, right.
It's... Yeah, it's
Yep,
him.
the sponsor guy. There you go. Still with that horrible haircut. No, seriously, just look at that.
What are you two doing sitting around? Shouldn't you be shuttle running or something?
Shuffling the shuffle.
I care about all my clients.
Wait, he's a client of his too?
Yeah, I remember. He did the sponsor with Adidas, I think.
Let's talk then. After I'm done thrashing our boy here, though.
Not happening.
Yeah, I don't even know what the score is.
Actually, Jim called. Said he needed to talk to me.
Jim? Who?
The grandpa.
Oh, apparently progress in this story does carry over to the next one.
Well, that makes sense.
Oh. So they're Mass Effecting it. Then again, they do.
Oh, there you go. He actually gave.
Well, it's EA, Jova. So. And BioWare did consult with EA Sports in terms of how to do this. So.
Yeah, they collaborate with EA Canada.
He actually got the autographed figurine.
Yeah. Oh. Phone call, guys.
Call me Andy.
Turbat.
Hey, just wait to say well done, lad.
Hey?
You what? Too busy playing video games? Put on the sports news.
Haha, funny.
Ha ha ha.
Alex Hunter continues his meteoric rise as his name.
Also, really the cliche of turn out the TV at just the right timing.
Yep, Alex has been called up to the England squad.
Oh.
The World Cup? Oh!
So, sequel baiting. Yay.
So,
and that's it.
And it makes sense, because we actually are
that's
getting a
it?
sequel for this.
The best is yet to come. So much.
Yeah,
sequel. You don't even get credits.
There you go, Jova. The best is yet to come.
Wait, you actually don't get credits? I thought you just cut them out or something.
That's it, done.
Oh, alright, well that's underwhelming.
Well, in FIFA, usually the credits are seen by actually going to the options and selecting them, not through.
Oh, well, I'm not.
So.
Alright, so actually, before we give our final thoughts, I'll just state what's going to be happening in the next season, because I didn't go too in depth with that one. Basically, you start the new story at the same club that you were in the last one. In this case, it will be Swansea.
How does it censor data?
It includes traits, honours, and including any title or FA Cup win you've done. So I'm guessing the cutscenes are going to vary depending on whether you've won those or not.
So how do the separate discs censor data on the PS4?
Probably the same way that that they did with their other games, I guess.
Like in Mass Effect, I got how it did that on the PC, but.
And also, while in this one you were stuck to being in just either the Premier League or the Championship, in the next one you can actually go to faraway countries like Brazil and the United States.
I would hope so, since it sounds like they're setting up for a... Wait, you can actually play on the United States team?
No. Well, a club team, not the national team, for obvious reasons.
Right. Hopefully, there's also going to be a World Cup involved in one of these stories.
Well, that probably won't be until the
19 one.
Yeah, that won't be until like maybe the next one after that or something, because well, actually, after this one, the World Cup is next, so maybe it could happen, but for now, we'll just have to wait and see. So, that was FIFA 17, The Journey. I'll give my thoughts first. It had a lot of potential, and from what I'm hearing, the sequel looks to do more with it, i.e. you get to go to more places, and you can actually customize Alex as well by giving him different hairstyles and all that. But, I mean, and also that's not to say this game is totally bereft of good things. I mean, the Italian guy is my favorite character in the game.
Yeah.
Plus, the story it's nothing too bad. It's just the usual typical from small beginnings to big success story that we've seen. But then again, I think Gold did this kind of story better. But
yeah, I agree.
So yeah, that was my thoughts. Pedro, you go next.
Me. I'm not. Again. I know that a lot of people, possibly too, would try to argue. Well, it's their first try. Be nice on it, but I still think they could have done much better than this, even for a first try, because there's a lot of time, like we've shown in this playthrough. There's time where the game will just go on for hours without a single cutscene. The game basically seems to even forget that it's trying to tell a story. Like, they don't even try to make Alice into any kind of really strong character. He's just generic sports protagonist guy. You know, the humble, generic, nice guy. I like the Italian guy, but that's literally it. I mean, none of the other characters stand out, and like I said, the story basically just kind of farts out because of horrible pacing. There's when the story does try to kick in, it usually ends up being either too late or just stupid, like we just saw with the plot twist. So it turns out Mr. Douche Nozzle has been secretly planning like this against us since we were 10. Are you kidding me? It's dumb. Like, that's the kind of thing you'd see in those bad 90s comedies.
You think it would be a good plot for Seinfeld or something?
Yeah, except Seinfeld is a comedy. It's supposed to be ridiculous. Anyway, okay. So, yeah. Again, I haven't played the game itself, and the game looks to be just on par with modern football games. It looks like your standard FIFA fare. It looks. I really like some. I really like some of the things that they added since the recent ones. That's cool. The gameplay itself is fine. It's just that the story in general is just very poorly created, and like even for a first try, I would argue they could have done better than this. That's basically my thoughts. Go ahead.
Okay, go next then.
Okay.
Well, honestly, it's not. My argument wouldn't even be for their first time or some shit like that. More like the fact that it was the first time, not exactly for the developers to try something like this, but for a company in general to implement something like important as a story mode in a game that had pretty much no story mode up until now, and it had a track record of like pretty much decades at this point. And the thing is, it's clear that as a first attempt it was awkward and very juvenile in some terms, but honestly at the end of it is just there. It has the flaws, but it's not like in a case of insulting everyone. It insults a bit of intelligence with some choices, and the fact that it's not paced well doesn't help. But overall, it's just there, nothing more, nothing less. I just only hope the sequel will do better justice and hopefully a better pace. Go ahead, Jova.
Yeah, this is quite an anomaly. On the one hand, it's something we asked for. On the other hand, it doesn't really have much of what we asked for. I mean, yes, it has cutscenes. I mean, okay, it starts off kind of promising with the cutscenes we get at the beginning, but then throughout the journey, God damn it! Throughout the journey, we are met with so little. I mean,
you're so funny, Joe.
I really didn't mean that one actually, but yeah, I mean, we get some nice characters, yet we don't get to stay with the nicer characters like Dino. I guess technically he
because you need
existed.
assholes for tension and whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I find it funny how your main coaches, which are based off of the real life coaches, are the a-holes. Go figure. But yeah, the characters, yeah, a lot of them aren't much to write home about. I mean, the friend, and I don't mean like Mr. Juice Nozzle, I mean the actual friend is interesting, but we don't really get to know much about him. Alex is. He's good as a protagonist character. I mean, good. Although, I have to say, Mr. Dish Nozzle, that is... So, you based your entire friendship on just wanting to somehow get it big. You were expecting his grandfather would see greatness enough in him to allow both him and you to go on. Wow.
Yeah.
Dickish, stupid... Yeah, and stupid. Okay, yeah. Basically, this feels kind of like what I was expecting it to be, which is a bad thing in this regard, because, look, I like to think include story, but there needed to be more story to give me the sense that there's more of a point to this. Now, it was satisfying beating Mr. Deuce. So the problem is, Michael, you don't really do much with him except, I guess, help him up from the ground, even though he technically wasn't even on the ground during the last gameplay cutscene. Yeah. You know, I think I can sum up the biggest problem with this. This takes gameplay and story segregation to an all-new high, is its main problem. And that's one thing that I do hope that they improve on it. Michael, if it weren't for the gameplay and story segregation, I think this would have been more fun. That's what I'll say. Okay then, Shiroi.
Well, that wasn't... personally, that wasn't a terrible first attempt, considering FIFA's been around for a long time, and this is the first one that actually got a story mode, but at the same time, it wasn't terrible. No, I mean, it wasn't great even for a first-time attempt. So hopefully this FIFA The Journey 2 will actually be a little more in-depth. I don't want them to go full pretentious with it, but at the same time, like, at least make some kind of effort if you're going to actually put a story mode in there in the first place. That's all I'll say. I mean, apart from that, you know, the gameplay is the gameplay, really. I mean, it's FIFA and it's fine enough, but in terms of the cutscenes, it would be nice to get a little bit more out of it, and that's all I have to say.
Plot twist, like 80% of the new one is cutscenes.
Oh, it's like a Kingdom Hearts prologue.
But you wanted more cutscenes.
Anyway.
I wouldn't mind it if they were good cutscenes. I would be down for it. Go ahead.
Sure.
Okay, so you guys done?
Yeah.
It
Pretty
was
much
not
all.
the worst, but could have been better.
So that's all, I guess, for season 1.
Yeah, we'll see you for season 2. And yes,
FIFA The Journey 18, whatever the fuck.
Strange that there's no credits though. That's well, it's not something entirely new, but yeah.
And yes, I went off and checked my PS4. Even though I traded in the game now, it still has the save date.
Yay.
Yeah.
See ya.
See ya.
Yeah.